Greetings, survivors and friends, Shadowfrax here, ready to inject you where it hurts with your weekly shot of rusty fluids. And of course, this update is all about what was inflicted on the main branch in this week's Forced Wipe. Because Forced Wipe is best wipe. There was a whole elite crate's worth of quality of life improvements this month and some optimizations, which I'll get to in a bit. But first, a new plaything. The medium battery is here. You can get it at the bandit camp for 75 scrap, and as the name implies, capacity-wise, it's sandwiched betwixt its smaller and larger brethren with a max output of 50 rust watts and a max capacity of 9,000 rust watt minutes. And yes, you heard me correctly, because batteries now work a bit differently and betterer. Rust watt minutes means how many minutes the battery will supply 1 unit of power for, with a higher demand on the battery resulting in a faster drain. Basically, instead of them draining at a constant rate no matter what they're hooked up to, battery charge is dynamic now, just like in real life. If you can remember what that is. They still don't hold their charge when picked up though, which is a shame. Small, medium and large batteries have their own ratings as shown on the screen now. Plus, there's a new info panel when looking directly at one with your wire out, which will also tell you how much strain it's under. There's also a rather cool effect to show how much charge the medium batteries have. Okay, let's get this next one out of the way, because as mentioned last week, and in what is quite literally being called the Tree Fix update, the tree thwacking mini-game fix is live. Maybe. Hopefully. I mean, there might be some fringe cases, but statistically it's about as unlikely to fail now as 2 players managing to be on the same planet at the same time in the original version of No Man's Sky. 100 to 1 at least. This fix is so important that it actually got its own trailer this month, so you know the team mean business. #TeamTrees. For the inquisitive amongst you, the problem was with the marker placement logic getting fudged up, especially by the more irregularly shaped trees. And apart from changes being made to improve things across the board, some trees, I'm looking at you palms, received some pre-cached marker positions, so they should always work. Okay, so it may be the lead story of the dev blog, but lest you think this means face puncher slacking, in the same way that most of an iceberg lettuce actually grows beneath the surface, there are some rather huge changes and additions afoot that will come to fruition soon, just not this month. And I've already mumbled about these at length, so let's move on. Some other fixes we received this time round are as follows. Campfire smoke and effects now obey the laws of physics and go straight up, no matter what. A long-standing bow glitch where the second arrow had a delay is now sorted. If someone decides to slam their chopper into the side of your base, their great balls of fire and debris shouldn't penetrate your walls and mess up your feng shui anymore. Also, talking of choppers, one particularly bothersome issue was the sudden pop-up of buildings right in your flight path because you were able to travel to the edge of your network view distance so fast. Now, buildings are guaranteed to appear at least 64 meters away from you no matter how fast you're cheesing it, and performance should still be good. Also, after a bit of chasing around, a hot air balloon loophole that allowed players to glitch into rocks and buildings should now be cauterized. In new features, and I realize I've covered some of these in previous vids, but to round them up, just as sleeping bag clusters could be expanded to elucidate their details, vending machine map markers now obey the same rules. If more than one are overlaid, a number will appear above, then just click on the icon to expand them. Team Chat is available now. You can switch between it and global with tab when in the chat UI. All messages are displayed in the same list, but now you can talk about people behind their backs. Also, right-clicking on a player's name in chat will now bring up a menu allowing you to do all this stuff. Most importantly, muting them, so you don't have to read their words of wisdom. If you successfully shut someone down like this, go you, but later have a twinge of conscience and wish to reverse your decision, for now you'll have to do it via the console. You can type mute list here to see everyone you've blanked and use unmute followed by their name to remove them individually. Or, if you're feeling particularly strong today, unmute all will release the Kraken once more. There were also a few fixes to chat to stop the UI getting stuck under certain circumstances. As already shown in previous vids, we now have hover looting without having to use scripts, and although the default key for this is H, you can assign whichever one you want in the options menu. In case you haven't noticed, there were also some changes to looting timers. Beforehand, you could loot as fast as you could click. However, now all item loot clicks are queued and processed at regular short intervals, one after the other, meaning one item must be fully looted executed before the next timer will start. I must say, no queue jumping pleases my Britishness. Sticking with inventories, you can now right-click an item in the main section to send it to your belt bar, and if you have a piece of clothing in your belt bar, you can now press the relevant number to equip it. Also, it should no longer be possible to accidentally throw an item on the floor if you drop it in the small space between inventory and belt. Praise be! Large furnaces can now be placed on rocks again, plus small water catchers can be placed on building blocks, but they must have a view of the sky to collect that sweet, sweet invisible rain. Floor grills are good for this if you want to encase them. You can hold buttons to transfer water now instead of multiple clicks, plus you can hold to drink too. In a stunning move, lockers will let you place items into them individually now, so no more having to equip the set you want beforehand. Gary made some big changes to bug reporting and feedback so that pressing F7 in-game will open a window directly instead of taking you to a browser page, and on the main menu you'll find an inbox where the team can send you little messages about your cheat reporting successes. In other changes, solar panels are now available at the compound for 75 scrap, and small generators there now cost 125 instead of 175. Now, you may be laying there in your hammock thinking, hang on, what about my optimization? Well, hold on to your martini, because there was actually a large body of optimization merged in this update, which was being worked on over the last couple of months. All of Rust's monuments and environment art had its LODs simplified, with lower amounts of material and texture fetches on distant objects. There are still improvements to be made, but potentially there will be a performance boost for some of you from it, and as a bonus there should be less popping and more accurate renditions of environment art at medium to long distances. There were some new commands and features worth mentioning this month, including the Teleport LOS command for admins, which allows teleportation in line of sight. Debug files can now be opened directly from the F1 console, just down there, and something rather major for the cinematographers and content creators. In fact, something I've been after for donkey's years. Manual depth of field. You see, up until now, depth of field has been on autofocus, which is okay, but can make it very tricky or impossible to get certain shots. Well, no longer, as you can now set the focus distance and even adjust it on the fly. There are a number of console commands related to this, and I appreciate most of you just want to play the game, so I'll put all the details in the description for you. Over on good old Instagram, there are a couple of new shots of the HDRP work, showcasing some rather resplendent looking ground cover, but apparently all of this is something we'll have to wait until next year for. And finally, what's the difference between playing Rust and being hypnotized into thinking you're drunk? You might say not much, and you'd be right, because in both cases, from your perspective, you're legless. However, it looks like that will change, as Gary has started work on a new branch called Legs, which, yes, is going to let you look down at your pins. No longer will you be a disembodied pair of arms, no matter how much fun that is. Stay tuned for more on this and anything else that happens as it happens. Please tell me down below what you think to this month's patch. Is performance any better for you? I will be reading your comments. Come and follow me on Twitch, where I stream 3 times a week. Stay up to date with me on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and my Steam group. I want to say a huge thank you to my supporters on Patreon for keeping me going. Please consider becoming one if you enjoy what I do here on the channel, and I shall catch you all soon. But in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio. Ahem.